Hello, this is Travis from EvolvingDeveloper.com, here to talk to you about another game I made. This is the first game I made in 2016. Like the last game I made from 2015, it was done using Meteor, but I also used AngularJS for this. It was kind of a hot technology at the time, and I decided to teach myself and at the same time try and make a game with it. This game doesn't actually have a name. I just called it a story engine. I essentially built a small engine for making story kind of games, like multiple choice, choose your own adventure kind of games. You have to sign in so it can track some stats and progress and whatnot. So we'll just sign in real here. Oh, forgot. Create an account and sign in. So essentially it lays out the story for you, gives you some options, and gets you to the next part where you have more options. And the idea was to have certain values, attributes that changed based on the option that you picked, and those would influence whether, even though you were making certain choices right or not, kind of influence your score at the end, and maybe prevent you from having certain options based on previous options that you made. Make your choices meaningful. The problem is, story writing is tough. I'm not a story writer. I need to flex that muscle before I actually put out a game that's based strongly around the story. And that's that. I did learn a lot from making a game like this. Originally, I tried to put in too many pathways and just had a branching nightmare. I learned about the sort of string of beads or string of pearls. There's a couple different names for the pattern of kind of having a central pathway and the converging points of the story, like when you make a choice, they converge back towards a main line, and then you have another set of choices, 2 or 3, that branch off and converge back to the main line, so that it kind of pushes you through the main line of the story through the entire time. I think one of the reasons I was making this game was just because I was looking into how difficult it is to make a game like this. Turns out the programming side of it isn't all that hard. The writing side of it is, and since that isn't one of my strengths in writing a solid story, at least I'm not convinced that's one of my strengths, I probably am not going to continue making games of this type. If I find somebody I want to collaborate with, or if I take some writing courses and want to try and test that muscle and flex that muscle and build it up and make it stronger, I will. And now I have something, if I really wanted to, I could go back and have a nice little kind of choose your own adventure engine, but not what I think I'm going to continue doing. Again, this was with MeteorJS. If you watch the other video, you'll know that I don't necessarily think it's a great technology for making games with, although this particular kind of game is very well suited because it's just clicking and making choices, essentially navigating a website, which is something I'm fairly comfortable at programming because my day job at this point in time is web development. Like I said already, one of the points of this was to learn Angular, and one of the best ways I found to learn is to work on a project that interests you and build something related to something that interests you with the technology you want to learn. Since I'm interested in games, if I want to learn a new technology, a new programming language or something like that, I will probably pick a game or some other area of interest of mine and make an app or a game for it to learn that technology or that programming language. AngularJS, which is a front-end framework for building reusable components, wasn't all that useful in this particular scenario. It really is for probably a more complicated kind of website or web app. Since this is so extremely simple, you really can't bring the power to bear that Angular offers. If I was going to go back and do it again, I might actually use React.js instead. That seems to have a little more popularity and caught on as far as if you were going to learn one of the two to look for a job. But basics of it are learn a lot of things about the patterns that you need to know about involved with this kind of game. I wrote a post about it probably wrote several posts about it on my blog at evolvingdeveloper.com. If you want to check those out, you can learn some more about it. This one also is not hosted online simply because it's with MeteorJS, and I'm not going to pay for any hosting for something that I don't like and it's not really finished. But this was the first game I made in 2016, which my goal for that year was to make one per quarter. Ended up making 2, sort of 3. Next video we'll talk about the second game I made, which I had a lot more fun with and is much more playable. But this is the story engine I made with MeteorJS and Angular 1. This is Travis from evolvingdeveloper.com. Talk to you next time.